Hey, everybody, good morning. It is Sunday, and I know it's unusual for you to see me on this fine Sunday morning here because it's unusual. We don't typically broadcast on a Sunday, but we are starting a new series, and we had planned to roll this out in September. But today, with the unlikely events, the most unusual events of the past 24 hours, we thought this was a good day. We need healing. I am sure everyone in America can admit today that if there's one thing that we know, one thing we're sure of, is that we need healing. It's been the most incredible 7 days, literally. It started in Gilroy, California. It's at a garlic festival, of all things. There was a mass shooting. Then 13 hours, 6 days later, in El Paso, Texas, uh, suddenly there was a mass shooting. And 13 hours later, just as we were coping with what had happened in El Paso, there it was on our timeline at 2 a.m., at 1:30 a.m. I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And so it's obvious that we need a healing. So I'm introducing this conversation because I feel that we need some sort of understanding. And I think that's what we're all searching for. Why? What will why do to the people who woke up this morning in hospital beds? What will the answer to why do to the people who woke up this morning who have lost family, who went shopping at Walmart on a Saturday? In the southern part of the country, it's back to school, so people are shopping back to school. El Paso, Texas is a place where a lot of Mexicans come over and shop, a lot of Mexican tourists come over and shop and go back. So asking the question, why? Is that going to help anybody? Is that going to bring people back? Or is it for us, the survivors, to understand where do we go from here? For me, that's the bigger question. This moment right now, where do we go from here? I'm listening to the commentary across all the news media. And there's a lot of divisive talk. There's a lot of divisive talk. There's a lot of people who are, thank you for thinking of me, right? There are a lot of, I don't want to say, but there are a lot of politicians who have a lot to say. There's a lot of divisive rhetoric. There are a lot of people who are out there and we're pointing fingers and blaming. Is that going to help the survivors? Because here's the deal. I believe there's going to be another mass shooting. Could take place tonight. Could be tomorrow. It could be next week. So everybody has a process. After September 11, we all developed a process for dealing with this kind of stuff. I think since September 11, we have not been the same. I remember the days leading up to September 11. I refer to them as the halcyonic days. I kid you not. Those were the days prior to our national consciousness becoming aware that this kind of evil can be visited upon us. You remember the morning of September 11th? For those of you who are too young to remember, it was just a regular Tuesday morning, like any other morning. We never imagined something like this. In fact, we were all watching Good Morning America or to the Today Show or CBS This Morning or something like that. And suddenly they cut to a picture, a photo of a plane flying into a tower in New York. And no one, people were standing on the street like, that plane lost direction. How come it hit the tower? Then we saw another plane a few minutes later, and we became aware that this was a coordinated attack. And we watched in horror as the towers fell, knowing that it would change us irrevocably forever. Shocked our national consciousness. Now, I kid you not, in the last 7 days, Monday night, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 1 o'clock. Whenever I wake up at that time of the night and I'm restless, without fail, it's always a mass shooting. So it started Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday night, Friday morning. Remember I told you guys, those of you who watch me regularly, I told you that Friday morning, when I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Finally, at 3:25 a.m., I just went to work out. I couldn't fall asleep. I made myself a cup of tea. I had a second shower for the night. And I'm like, I might as well just get ready for the morning because I couldn't go back to sleep. I caught up. I put my makeup on and I just sat up in bed. It's like I was waiting for something. I could not sleep Friday morning. Could not go to sleep. Couldn't sleep all day Friday. Like I was sitting up waiting for something. Right? We got to understand. We have to come to a place in our nation right now where we have to reconcile where we are. I don't understand the ideology behind white nationalists. I can't understand it because I don't see what you're national about. I just can't understand it. But I would think that if you're going to a place called El Paso and you're going to shoot on Mexican tourists, it kind of sounds like El Paso has been around for more than 150 years. So why are you going to shoot Mexican tourists after more than 150 years? And if you know any history about America, you do know about the Spanish-American War. And you do know that certain parts of California, Texas, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona was once part of Mexico. So what's the big deal? Do you see what I'm saying? So it begs the question then, who are these people who are white nationalists? Who are they? They're young people. Have you guys realized? So a 21-year-old with a high-powered assault weapon, where's he getting that from? You know what that tells us? We need to start holding the parents accountable. So a 21-year-old is filled with idealism. He's filled with, I can solve this. If we just get rid of this, if we just do this over here, if we just do that, this will solve the problem. That's idealism. Where does he get that from? He lives in the suburbs. His bills are paid. He probably has college paid for. He doesn't have to worry about finding food like the people in the inner city or where immigrants are, undocumented immigrants are. He doesn't have to run from the police. He has none of those issues. So what's his issue? Filled with an idealism that is non-existent. Because the America he claims to love is an America that was founded on a principle that all men are created equal. So he's wrong. That's what makes nationalism, white nationalism, wrong, right? Founded on a principle that everyone is created equal. I'm just outlining the problem to you. Okay, we have the solution. We're going to come to it, right? And it's also founded on a history that the people who lived here are people who also lived prior to. So there were some other people here when the rest of us got here. So what's your nationalism based on? Whites and blacks have always coexisted in this country because whites needed black slave labor so they could live. So where do you get this ideology that it's white nationalism? Do you see why it's fundamentally flawed in its thinking? Then if it's flawed in its thinking, it's going to be flawed in its efficacy and execution, right? Okay. So what we need is healing. Because we got to come to this place where we recognize that we are all here, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. This is bigger than you and I. And I find that a lot of these people who are thinking like that, they get this ideology from their parents who are perhaps dissatisfied. Maybe they're dissatisfied that they didn't achieve what they set out to in their career goals. Maybe they were overlooked because someone more qualified whose skin was brown probably overlooked them. Maybe they felt like they should own everything. I don't know why. You're not rich. You're not a Carnegie or a Vanderbilt or a Trump or a Bush. So you don't own everything in the country. So why do you think that you, in your little small 2,700 square feet subdivision house that you owe over 15 years of mortgage on, why did you think that you own anything? You own everything. And why do you think, more importantly, where does this sense of entitlement come from? You don't own the space here. Frankly, none of us do. We're all paying rent of some kind, whether we call that rent mortgage or we call it rent. We're all paying rent to be here. You know what's the rent we pay? Law and order, obedience to the law. That's the rent we pay. If we're obedient to the law, we can enjoy the freedoms that exist. That's the rent we pay. So when that freedom is violated, when those laws are violated, all of us are subjected to the process. So if I'm sitting in my small corner and I think that I have a right, and I think that I have the right to do this and the right to do that, perhaps I should feel isolated and alienated. I should be isolated and alienated because that cannot work, and that is not the thinking. That's not what the society is built upon. It's a strange thing here in the United States. We're such a large country and we are very diverse. And we seem to we take things for granted. We live in a society where if I right now, when this broadcast is ended, I'm going to go eat breakfast somewhere, right? That's my right. That's my freedom. I can do that, right? Without worrying about will there be men there with guns and so on. It's a strange thing to be here. It's a strange thing not expecting the security forces to knock on your door at any time. It's a strange thing. It's strange because in some parts of the world it isn't. We have running water, you have access to toilets. Come on, I'm just telling you the truth. So when people say they hate it here, I'm like, why don't you go live somewhere else and see what it's like? Appreciate what is here. Have you ever seen how much food is thrown out by restaurants? Have you seen the kind of health stuff, the medicines and so on that is disposed of, that other countries could do with to save people from disease, right? We have water in the fridge, and after it passes its expiration, that we're like, I don't want that anymore, throw it out. We have milk that the day before it expires, I'm like, I'm not drinking that. And you run to the store and you buy another gallon, right? It's time for a healing America. It's time that we start healing. It's time for us to get back to basics. One of the things I have seen in our country is that as mass shootings have evolved and as mass shootings continue, we've stopped praying. I know you're going to say, well, thoughts and prayers are not helping anyone. But you know what? Prayer is powerful. We've got to get back to praying. We stopped praying because there were so many scandals that emerged from places of worship that we stopped praying. We started looking at the people who conducted the prayers instead of looking up. And so our focus was on the people standing in the pulpit, the man taking the confessional, instead of looking up. And the minute we stopped looking up and started looking out in front of us, everything fell apart. We got to start going back to basics. We got to start having fear of accountability. That's why I think that the parents of those children, they should be called in for questioning. We should start asking them, what's going on in your home? How did you not know that your son was thinking this? What kind of rhetoric are you espousing in your home that radicalized your son to the extent where he thinks that he should go kill innocent people? These people didn't do anything to him. These people did not take anything from him. That 4-month-old baby who was injured in El Paso, a 4-month-old baby, did she take anything from anybody? Is she responsible for you losing your job? Is she responsible for you not having money when you woke up this morning? You think you should be such a multimillionaire. This is the sense of entitlement that is promoting this, that you think, where did all this thinking come from? So we got to heal. We should never forget Sandy Hook. 26 children. It seems like we are like, because 26 kindergartners were killed just before Christmas, not so long ago. It was 7 years ago. 26. Have we forgotten 23 children and 3 adults? Do you remember the day when we saw the entire procession of little caskets going up the cemetery? They had to stop showing it because it was too bad. Well, think about that 4-month-old who was shot. We got to stop the hate. This unity of hate has to be broken. We need to stop it. Every one of us, we need to stop it. What we have done is we start looking at this, and we start looking at the faces, and we start looking at people's color, and we start calling people out by names, and we have forgotten that it took all the colors to make this the nation that it is. If you want a country that only fits your ideology or your thought, then you need to go start a new one somewhere else. Go find an island somewhere where nobody else lives, and you start your own ideology. But as far as I can see, you need everyone to make it work. And here in the United States, it is what it is. The people from Europe who came to this part of the world, the conquistadores, from Spain and Portugal and France and England and Italy and the Netherlands, those people recognized that their society had come to a point where they couldn't sustain it anymore. They had to go look for new worlds to conquer, to find new resources, to keep their societies going. So they were willing to go out and discover what was out there that they could take back home to make their countries richer. Isn't that the truth? That's what it was all about. And they proved themselves right. 400 or 500 years history can now show that that's what happened, right? They went to Africa, went to the Far East, they went to India and all the places of Asia. They came over here to the Americas. And so they spread out in an effort to make their countries great. So this idea of exclusivity, that only one group of people can occupy this great nation, does not work. Are you kidding me? First of all, the white death rate has surpassed the white birth rate for the first time in 2016. So killing other people is not going to cut it. There are more white people growing older than there are white people being born. That's not going to kill anybody. That's not going to help anybody. But you need to put the guns down. And parents, we got to become very aware of what we're talking about. We're irresponsible in our homes. We're talking about this person is responsible for the society. America always had crime. That crime stretched back from way back when white people brought other people and enslaved them. You think that was right? What wasn't bad? Violence has always been here. Do you see what I'm saying? So now accept that it is what it is. And we got to move forward. And moving forward does not mean that we're going to hurt others because we disagree with them. In fact, It violates one of the tenets of our democracy. One of the pillars of our democracy is that we listen and cogitate and engage with one another. The shared ideas. Yeah, we can disagree all we want, but at the end of the day, we're going to sit down and have a cup of coffee. See what I mean? And talk about how great it is to be here. We can't, you can't, I will never support, I will not support a young man targeting minorities. No, a young white males who are bored and who want attention because they think they're not famous. That's really what it is the envy. They want to be famous. They want to be somebody. So they want to get up and do something that call attention to themselves. So they go and say, well, I've always thought this way. Perhaps not. You probably follow some rappers on your Instagram feed. You probably were jiving to some rap music. So cut it out. What it is young white people who are bored. You have resources available to you, and they're bored, and they're listening to their parents' mouth off about how things are because the parents themselves are probably stuck. There's only so far they can go based on their resources and your abilities. I was in a hospital room yesterday, and one woman began talking to me about her own concerns of how the aging population is being treated, perhaps expressing a fear for herself as well. Right? And she was amazed to learn who I was. She probably was just amazed. And I said, no, we're just humble. My daughter said, we're humble. She said, I would never have known. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm listening to her talk. And the shared idea, we had the same concerns. It did was white, blonde, and blue-eyed. She was older and working on a Saturday when I know she would have preferred to be out gardening. Do you see what I mean? But she shared some concerns that she wanted me to focus on and to talk about. And I will eventually. I will. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to learn to live with one another. And we got to get behind the idea that this is not just about me. In fact, it has to be that if it affects me, it's affecting others. And we got to talk about it responsibly. We can't sit in our homes and talk about, well, it's the Mexicans' fault. Well, it's the Hispanic fault. Well, what did your forefathers contribute? Your forefathers were probably the architects of this stuff. So why are you, this is what I'm saying. They need to hold the parents accountable. Even if they're not held criminally accountable, I think the rest of us, we want to know, what were you saying in your homes? And don't tell me that the idea of white nationalism it's generational. It passes from one generation to the other. It's a nexus of hate. It starts out with people who are dissatisfied. They feel that they should have a bigger role than they have resources for. Look, you know that life is a triangle. So you go into a company, let's say AT&T, for example. AT&T, the leadership is a triangle. There's only one person at the top. And then it expands as it gets out. Why is it that we have such a hard time understanding that? So why do you think that you should have a bigger role to play when you were not called to having a role in the first place? And this idea that people use Christianity and people use religion to advance their cause, it needs to be washed out. People just use pillars. They use crutches. They want to stand on something and they want to justify it. Why don't I want if that's the way you think, I invite you to start justifying the idea of peace. Because right now, there are families in El Paso who are hurting. There are families in Dayton this morning who are getting notifications from the coroner that their child who went out last night thinking they could just go out to a party after work was killed. There are people who are standing by loved ones in hospital rooms this morning. People need to go and get a reality check. There are people right now in hospital rooms who are clinging to life. And you woke up this morning and find yourself healthy and you're not in a hospital room and all you can do is start go buy a gun and come and shoot other people up. Why are you so angry? That's what is causing the problem. Those are the issues. But right now, I want us to heal. And I know that we talk about forgiveness, and believe me, I know the apathy towards religion and organized religion in the execution of it. I know that there is, but what else can we do at times like this but to stop and think outside of ourselves? There's got to be an answer that comes from outside of ourselves. Do you see what I'm saying? There's got to be an answer that is bigger than me and you. There's got to be an answer. It has to. We can't just rely on just the government to do this. It's not just the government. We are the people. And we, the people, have to start right where we are. You know the song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, but let it first begin with me? I wish every white nationalist and every person who believes they have a fundamental right to bear arms would start saying, I let peace begin with me, peace in our hearts. Start thinking one to another. Start looking at other people and start thinking what makes them them. Just like I'm sitting here wondering, why would a 21-year-old white male, a 21-year-old child, he's a child to me, I have children, right? Why would a 21-year-old white male who has all access to everything that America has to offer, why would he choose to kill himself over an ideology that is untested? Hitler tried it and he died and it failed horribly. Germany is still paying the price for it today. So Germany is rejecting everything to do with white nationalism because now they're like, you notice they're not saying anything. They want to duck like, oh my God, we started this thing 100 years ago. I want to know how a young white male with everything that he has going for him, why would you go pick up a gun and open it on people? Where is your compassion? That's what's causing this. A lack of love for your fellow man. To look at someone else and realize that but for the grace of God, it could be you. Aren't you happy? Shouldn't he be happy that he was born white? He can go apply to any college. He can get better loans. He can get better interest rates. He can get the best jobs. Shouldn't he consider that? Yeah? And feel compassion for those who don't have that access. I don't believe that we need to blame anybody this morning except the parents of those shooters. What are you saying in your homes? Are you teaching your children to love one another? Are you teaching your children compassion for someone else's plight? Have you ever taken your child down to projects? Have you ever shown them the difference with what you can afford and what someone else can't afford who has the same desire to learn? What are you teaching your children? The shooters use the issue. Hold on, listen to this. This is very interesting. The shooters use the issue of white decline as an issue, as an excuse to play out their massacre fantasies. My God, my brother, you're right. Their actions ultimately only serve to undermine their proclaimed agenda. Can you say that one more time for those in the penny section to hear? I just want to applaud you right now. My goodness, where did you come from? Wow, that is so insightful. Can you believe that? Can you believe? Hence, say it one more time for those in the penny section. Go put it everywhere. Do you see what I'm saying? If you were born white and you woke up this morning as a white male and you can do whatever you want to do in America, I don't know about the other countries that are white, right? I don't know. I've never lived in other countries where there is majority white, so I don't know. But if you can do whatever you want to do, and you still think you need to kill someone, you think that if you kill a group of people, then it's going to give you more access. A group of people who are powerless, a group of people who are A group of people who are underprivileged, for want of a better word. They lack the privilege that you have, and you think that killing them is going to further your agenda. No, it's not. It's ridiculous. That was the same ideology that Hitler used. And look what happened. The march across Europe, look what happened. Hitler thought if he could get rid of the Jews, then it would solve the problem of poverty in Austria and Germany. Look how that turned out. Look how that turned out. It was the Jews who held their economies together. Look how that turned out. And today, fast forward, it's almost 100 years later. You find young white males with everything to lose. They have everything that they could want, access to everything. And still, you perpetuate the idea of hate. Where is the love? Where's the love? Where is the compassion? It's like, hence, a few hundred years ago, yeah? The Carnegies, you know where I'm going with this, the Rockefellers, the Mellons, right? Those folks, the Vanderbilts, they were very wealthy. But they looked at those who were not, and they set up foundations to give back. Didn't they? They're still wealthy. The Rockefeller family, I think it's the Rockefeller family. I think they're valued at $10 billion today. That's what I read. Right, it was the Rockefellers who started Standard Oil. I read somewhere they're still valued at $10 billion today. That's 150 years after the first Rockefeller. Hello. They set up a foundation. Today's billionaires, what do they do with their money? They're going to start a new planet. Where's the love? There's a lack of love in our community, in our society. We don't feel compassion for others. Can I ask you this? When you're passing the Salvation Army kettle, when I was growing up, we couldn't walk past a Salvation Army kettle. You had to give. Do we do that today? They rob the Salvation Army kettle. You're right about that, right? Yeah, they do. They do, sadly. Right? Do we give? We look at people and we judge them. And we say, well, I don't know if I'm going to help you, or I'm not going to help you, because if I help you, you'll be better off than me. We've become more competitive. Where did the love go? We don't have love one to another. We hate people because they disagree with what I think. How can I hate you because you disagree with me? Is that intrinsic or what? Isn't that kind of marginalized behavior? Yep, severely. You just hate someone for what they think. You hate someone because you don't. How on God's green earth, people have existed on this earth for centuries. So how on God's green earth you're going to hate someone else because they don't look like you? I have never, pardon me, I grew up in the Caribbean, so racism is anathema to me. I can't understand it. I don't get the idea where another human being thinks that you're better off than me because the color of your skin is different. I wasn't raised like that, and I don't understand it. I don't see how you think you're better off than me. Are we all in the same boat? The only persons who are different are the billionaires. Duh. So how do you think that just because your skin color is different that you're better than? I've never understood racism. I can see if you have more money that you think, well, I have access to more resources, so therefore I perhaps am better than you. I can see if you were thinking like that. And even then, I'm still going to tell you to get a life and get a grip, because your money is subject to inflation and one scandal will tear you down. So I don't know. You see what I'm saying? We need to start asking these parents, what are you saying in your homes? But one thing I know, we need healing. So where does the healing start? It starts with you and I. I am not saying that you need to go out on a message board and start telling everybody how much you disagree with them. But we need to start by loving one another. We need to have empathy. Remember the story in To Kill a Mockingbird? You know what Atticus Finch said? He wrote this, Harper Lee wrote this: put yourself in someone else's shoe and walk around in it to see what it feels like. We criticize people, but have you ever wondered why there's violence in Chicago? Have you ever tried to imagine what must it be like to live in Chicago with gun violence? What must it be like to live in a place where there is no exit from? What must it be? We need hope. Hope is eternal. We need hope. We need love. And we need hope. We need hope back. We have told people that hope is foolish. We have told people that love is irrelevant. Brotherly love, love amongst one another. We have told people you don't need that. You need to be your own God. We have made ourselves God, so much so that we have forgotten who is God. And we stop looking up and start looking here. Look at me. Point at me. I am the end of it. We've stood on stages and in pulpits using microphones and using cameras to tell people, I am the answer. I got it. I am the answer you're looking for. And we have forgotten who is the answer. We need hope. We need to start telling people there's hope. So what if you're young, white, and you were born into the middle class, and your parents were middle class, and your grandparents were middle class, and you think, boy, there's no hope for me to ever break through and become a Beto O'Rourke, or to become a Donald Trump Jr., or to become a Paul Ryan, or whatever it is that you're aspiring to. You need hope. What you have, my brothers who are white nationalists, what you are missing is hope. That's all. It's that simple. All that hate that you feel, that you think the government or the blacks or the whites or the Hispanics or the this or the that, the. What you need is hope. It's all simple. It's hope. I have found that wherever there is a lack of hope, that's where violence and everything else prevail. When people don't have hope, they turn on one another. We have become a nation that has become hopeless. This country that was the city on a hill, this country that used to be the shining beacon of hope to everybody else in the world, that if I can get to America, I can live like a normal person. We have lost our hope. And in losing our hope, we have become a nation that kills babies, that kills our children, that kills young people, who shoot our neighbors, who shoot our co-workers, who shoot our friends. We've become a nation that walks up into a church service and shoot people who are having a Bible study. We have become a nation that points fingers of hate and hate at people. We have lost what we were, a nation that was a beacon of hope to the people, hope to the hurting, hope to the hopeless, hope to those who lacked love. We need hope back. We need our hope. It starts with me and it starts with you. We need to start hoping. Go to bed tonight. Hope for a better day. Wake up. Say words of hope out of our mouths. Greet one another with love. My sister, my brother, you don't have to bow before anybody. You don't even have to agree with them, but shake hands. I was in a TV show a couple weeks ago. I was in a TV studio with people with as much diverse viewpoints as you could think, but we greeted each other with love. When it was over, we knew that it was up to us to demonstrate love. We loved each other nonetheless because we're human. When we got out of that place, we got into our cars. Anything can happen when you are driving. Anything can happen. Anybody's going to run to your rescue if something has happened. We need hope and we need love. White nationalists, young white males, young white women, you need hope. You have lost your hope. You want to be a big baller. You want to be like a Donald Trump, balling all over the world with gold toilets to sit on. You need hope. You need hope. You want to be like Elon Musk. You want to be like Zuckerberg. You want to be like Bill Gates. You want to be like Warren Buffett. You need hope. Go back to school and pick up the books and study. You need hope. Hope is what we have lost. We have lost hope. We used to love people. This country used to send resources to help every nation. We were the country of love, so much so that it made people all over the world, the rest of us, wanted to come here and be part of this great experiment of humanity. Listen to me, politicians. We need hope. We need love. Get back to basics. Get back to the fundamentals of what made this country great. We need hope and we need love. The Bible says very clearly, we need faith and we need hope. But the greatest of these is love. Faith, hope. You know what faith is? The belief that things will change and that things will turn around if you get up every day and put foot in front of one another. Young white males, young white females who are without hope, listen to us. We're minorities. We have to fight 20 times as hard to make it. Come and ask us, how do we keep going in spite of adversity? We're going to tell you that it's hope. We're going to tell you that every day we get up believing that something will change, but we got to show up for it to happen. Young white males, get up and get hope. You need hope. Come and talk to us. You don't have to go down into the community. Put it out on your social media pages. Talk to us from behind a camera until you feel like you can come and face us. We're going to tell you that you need love. The greatest of these is love. Now exists. And all you preachers who are out there, who join all sorts of political campaigns because you want to preach the message of hope and love. Stop destroying the community and the society and icons of different people. It takes brown, it takes black, it takes red, it takes yellow, it takes white, it takes green. Come on. Preach the message of forgiveness, of brotherly love, of embracing one another, of coming together and understanding that it takes love. The greatest of these is love. We need hope. Start hoping for a better life. If you read history, part of the reason why Hitler destroyed everything that was in Austria, he didn't have any hope that things would change. He thought that if he killed these people off and took their stuff, all of a sudden that was going to solve the problems. When he became the ruler, he began to realize that he lived in a vacuum, that all of a sudden he needed to trade. He needed to partner with all the countries around. He began to realize that you can't isolate and rule. You can't alienate and rule. You have to extend the hand of fellowship. My brothers and sisters, extend the hand of fellowship, not the hand that has an AR-15, not the hand that has magazines wrapped up to kill people and shoot people, not a Browning assault weapon. Extend the hand that has love and faith and hope. Touch somebody's hand, knowing that you are touching the hand of somebody who survived slavery. Touch the hand of somebody whose ancestors were beaten and killed and shot. Touch somebody's life. You are not better. Whatever they taught you and told you that your skin color made you better is wrong, and it's been a lie from the foundation of that ideology to today. It's not true. It never was true. We're all subject to the same process of deterioration. You don't believe me? Look at people who have been shot. Go down to the cemetery and see if you see anybody who has lived eternally. None. Not one. So that ideology is time out. It has exhausted its time. It's time for a new thinking. The new thinking is we need each other to survive. There's a song they sing in church. You know what it says? I need you. You need me. We're all a part of God's family. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you and I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Those are the words that we need to sing. I love you. I need you to survive. You are important to me. We're all important to the affluence, and the continuance of this great democracy. We need each other to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you and I need you to survive. We need to start by hating the hate the hate. We need to start hating the hate. When we see hate, hate it. But we need to love, stretch our hands of love. Now exists faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. Somebody here is saying that they have the spirit of multiculturalism, but they haven't lost all hope. They hope for a future for separate white communities. That never worked, and it will never work. There is no separateness. It never worked. While some people who were white were standing on a podium preaching desegregation, they were using black slaves to work to make money for them. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? So history is proving that separateness never worked. Okay? We need to, and you're right, Henry, mass shootings will continue because of access to guns. Yes, that's why we need love. Because if we love one another, lawmakers in Congress are going to sign legislation that is going to ban assault weapons and assault rifles. I believe in the Second Amendment. Yeah, bear arms all you want in your house. Yes, you can bear arms all you want, but I don't believe that people should not have background checks if they have a history of violence. I don't believe that there should be assault weapons should be readily available. What was this young man doing last night? He had 223s, y'all. Tell me, how did he get access to 223s? If the police were not already there, he would have shot up an entire area and killed more people. Love. That young man is someone who lost hope. And we're angry today. Yes, and we have every right to be. It's been 13 hours of bloodshed. And you know what makes it harder? We don't know if they don't plan another one in another city that can happen overnight, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. We don't know. That's what's making us so angry. And this has come up on us in a way that we didn't start this, we didn't initiate this. But we still need hope. At the end of this, we still need hope. Regardless if there's another one tomorrow or so on, don't throw in the towel. No, don't throw in the towel. Don't give up. Still hope and still love. Yes, they're going to shoot the place up. Yes, they're going to do everything. They're going to go to the malls, the places where you and I like to go. I don't even like going to the malls anymore because I'm like looking, right? I'm like picky, choosy. I don't like going out to eat anymore. I'm like, order it and bring it home. I definitely don't go to the theater anymore, the cinema anymore. Behavior, I modified my own behavior because I'm like, you never know where this is coming from. Hope, because somebody lost their hope. Someone lost their hope and they stopped believing that if they continue to show up, that things will change. The whole point of white nationalism, my brother, is that they believe that only white people should prosper. And that if you eliminate everybody else, then they will have all the opportunities. That's a lack of hope. Will you pay the price to go to school. How many young white doctors have you seen lately? Raise your hand. You've been in the hospitals and community centers, community health centers across this country. How many? I'm asking you, how many young white doctors have you seen? None. Doctors are brown and black today. Why? How many white engineers have you seen? Raise your hand. None. Young white people don't want to spend time to study. They don't want to. Young white people want a quick fix. They want to create cryptocurrency and bitcoins. They want to launch an app. They don't want to work. They don't want to put in the effort that their foreparents put in. That's the truth. And you all white parents don't tell your kids that because you're afraid of them, because you want to be their friends. So you don't tell them that. So they become disenchanted when they see brown people who put the effort in walking away with a prize. They don't want to put in the work. They think that it should come to them. No, it's a different day. That never worked, and it will never work. So the idea of white nationalism, I beg you to go back to history. Like I just told you, they left Europe because they had exhausted the resources for all the people who lived in those countries. And they came looking for opportunities to take back to make their society better. That was the whole point. And here we are 500 years later, prove their point. So now what? Young white men, young white women, get up. Go back to basics. Go be engineers and doctors and journalists. Yes, go be developers. Yes, go back to it. It takes us all. There are brown and black people everywhere. They're doing it. You can do it too. We need hope. So I leave you this morning with the idea that what we need is love. Today, I challenge all of us, including myself, with all that this has shown us. Henry, I appreciate your comments. With all that this has shown us, we need love. So I want you to notify your lawmakers. Every one of them in your district, they all have a Facebook page. I've been preaching it for years. Go on their Facebook page and tell them, ban assault rifles, ban access to them. We need more background checks. Ban it. Don't make it so easy. So even if they feel like they're dissatisfied, have you noticed white nationalism exists in some parts of Europe? You know that, right? It's in France, it's in Spain, it's in Italy, and it's in the United Kingdom. Why are there no mass shootings in those countries? Because they don't have access to assault rifles and they don't have handguns. You have to have a permit to go hunting. Canada has white nationalists, but you can't use a gun in Canada. You have to have a hunting rifle. Right? So you can't just go buy a 9mm or a Glock or an AR-15, or just go buy a Browning assault weapon off the internet and it comes delivered using mom and dad's credit card. Yeah, because mom and dad has this huge limit on their credit card, so I just use it. No. Do you see where the problem is? Right? We need hope. We need hope. And for those of us who are ethnic and who are brown and who are black and who are red, we still need hope that it's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to change. We need love. Still love them. Still smile. You see them, don't mean mug anybody. So say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? I don't care who you are. I still say, hey, how's it going? You may not like me. I don't care. If you stand in front of me long enough, I'm going to make you smile. Still say, hey, how's it going? The greatest of these is love. Now exists faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. I leave you with love and hope and peace. Join us as we pray for the victims, the survivors of violence in these communities who have to bury loved ones and who are still, till 10 days from now, when we've forgotten about this and moved on, they have to deal with the loss of a loved one, a parent, a brother, a sister, a daughter, a niece, a son, a husband, a boyfriend, a lover, a friend. The greatest of these is love. Now exists faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. Grace and peace. Grace and peace to all of you. I love you. I thank you. And my prayers in the name of Jesus, in the name of everything I believe, in the name of the mighty name of Jesus, in the name of peace, I speak peace over our country, over every community, over every law enforcement officer, over every person with a gun. We will not take up guns. We will not be armed. We are going to continue to love and love and love. And it starts with me. Happy Sunday. Go cook some dinner. Make some comfort food. Turn the TV off a little bit. Turn the rhetoric off. Okay? And go cook some comfort food. And hey, anybody throw anything on a grill anywhere? Notify me. And I'm just going to show up because I love barbecue and I love grilled food. So if you're going to put some shrimp on the grill or something, anything, call me. I'll show up. Yeah, I will. Right? Just sit back. Hope for tomorrow. Amen. Be blessed. Be blessed, everybody. Thank you so much. You call.